Trinidad and Tobago has recorded its first case of the Omicron variant of concern. However, Health Minister Terrence Deyalsingh says what is disturbing is that the person was allowed to board a flight with a positive PCR test en route to this country. Sunil Lalla has the details.
This morning, we were informed of the discovery of our first case of the Omicron variant in Trinidad and Tobago.
It's an announcement health officials have been warning would be inevitable. This country joins dozens of others which has detected the Omicron variant since it was designated a variant of concern by the WHO in late November. But Health Minister Terrence Deyalsingh is not particularly happy with how the variant entered our shores on December 9th.
In New York, the person was allowed to board a flight with a positive PCR test. Person then traveled to Panama, where they presented a negative antigen test.
Mr. Deyalsingh says the female passenger who was fully vaccinated was an imported case and was detected to have the positive PCR test on arrival at Piaco and sent immediately into isolation at a step-down facility. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Roshan Parashram and Professor of Molecular Genetics and Virology Christine Carrington says the case was flagged to be tested for any variant of concern following the person's arrival in Trinidad.
And she was able to turn it around in, I think, 2 or 3 days, correct?
Actually, it was less than that. We received it on Saturday and we gave the results late on Sunday.
Mr. Deyalsingh says he has been in discussion with the Ministry of National Security and has passed on the person's information for further investigation.
We will be providing to the Minister of National Security the person's name, the airline, because they have some liability in this, and the person for doing what they did.
Over a dozen people who were on the same flight and are fully vaccinated have since been ordered into quarantine.
All 14 of those persons, immediately around those persons, 2 rows in front, 2 rows behind, and 2 rows each to the side, all have negative PCR tests, all are fully vaccinated, they are in quarantine and will be monitored.
Mr. Deyalsingh says the case is being actively looked at by the National Security Ministry as to whether any fines or penalties could be applied, and adds that feedback would be given to the airport in New York to alert them to assist in tightening their protocols moving forward. Sunil Lalla, TTT News.
And later on, during the sitting of the House of Representatives on Monday, the Health Minister was grilled by members of the opposition about naming the airline involved in the matter. Minister Deyalsingh said this information is still unknown.
That is currently being investigated, and between the Immigration Department and the Civil Aviation Authority, they will make the identification and do the necessary investigations. At this point in time, I do not know the name of the airline.